Juwel was named SEC Co-Player of the Week. Has really been strong in SEC play for you guys. I know she had an injury in non-conference play, but is there anything that's kind of stuck out about what's allowed her to really take off in SEC play?
I think she's understanding our spacing and timing a little bit better, that sometimes the further you are away from the ball means you're going to have a better chance of getting the ball. She's doing a better job of cutting without the basketball, and she's doing a really good job of playing at pace. She doesn't get sped up. So she changes gears really well, and I think that's why she's been able to score off the bounce more this year than maybe years past or than she was earlier in the year.
As a follow-up to that, how much better has your spacing got, particularly as you started driving the ball to the rim a little bit more in the back half of league play here? How much better is your offensive spacing?
Yeah, I think the spacing is better. We still have times. I think it was the last game where we still had times where we all are just standing in a line, and we want our corners to be filled. But they are recognizing it quicker, and they are understanding, hey, this is why you have to be in this spot. Our gaps could still be a little bit better. That would give us bigger room to drive. I think we still have some people that clog those gaps.
At this point in the year, I guess, where's like the team's conditioning at? Do they have the legs under them that you'd expect? I know no one's kind of at 100% conditioning right now, but do you feel like they have kind of enough in the tank?
I think we're better than we were. I think before our bye week, we were maybe a little bit out of shape. And we're banged up, we're sore, just like every other team in the country right now. But I think fitness, heart rate-wise, we're in a good spot.
You've talked about this a little bit before, but how much with Juwel is her teammates realizing that if they're open or she's open, maybe she should take the open three, or kind of realizing what everybody's role is?
Yeah, I think we're getting better there, and I think our communication is also getting better. Our decision-making at times, a lot of times, is not great, and it helps when you have someone calling for the ball. And so if you have a choice and the game's coming at you a little too fast and you hear Juwel right beside you, it's a no-brainer to throw the ball.
Alabama has several high percentage shooters that they can spread the floor with. Just how big of a challenge will that be, and how much will that test your guys' half-court defense?
Yeah, I think this is a huge defensive test for us, and we have been playing defensive-minded teams the last couple games, and so now we have to be the defensive-minded team. We have to really guard the three-point line. They're a team that has 6 players that can give you 20, and everyone, we have to play team defense, but you got to step up and do your job.
When Ole Miss went to their full court press, it looked like it bothered you guys. Is that concerning at this point in the year that you haven't been able to kind of figure out opposing full court presses?
I don't necessarily know, but we were prepared for that press. We get pressed more than any team in the country because we press each other every day in practice. I think it was a combination of we saw a 17-point lead and didn't really value the basketball at the end of that game. Presses for the most part, when we settled down and played under control and got in the right spots, we scored layups on the back end. We just needed to be a little bit more deliberate and patient.
Juwel said Sunday she felt like the team is pretty locked in. When I asked her about just where she kind of felt like the team's mentality is, how would you compare them to, from when you guys started SEC play before that, massive gauntlet of ranked teams where you had to go through some heartbreakers? Just how would you kind of compare their mentality now to where it started at the beginning of conference play?
Yeah, I do think there's a realization that it's almost over. I think we have a lot of seniors left, and we have 4 games. And when you're a senior and you have a senior-heavy team, and your lasts are coming closer and closer of you only have a few more Monday practices, you only have a few more home games, you only get to wear this uniform one more time, everything starts to mean a little bit more.
And, Coach, along those same lines, how hard is it this time of year not to look at that big picture and keep taking that one game at a time approach?
Yeah, I think that's hard too. I think that it's been nice to be at home. You can kind of just get through your home stretch and then maybe turn the page. And Alabama is a really good team. I mean, we're going to play the 18th ranked team in the country coming in here. And so that's not something you can overlook or try to look big picture. You just got to look at the next game.
You mentioned, I think maybe last week too, it's like we either could have beaten a top 5 team or we got to win the rest of the way out. How much is that still playing into the mentality and practice when maybe you do look a little bit ahead and realize you're kind of that bubble team to host?
Yeah, I think, again, you just take care of business one game at a time. It's not a league, and we've talked about this. It's not a league where you have a bum that you're going to play. You got to show up and play every night. So every game is actually a big game. When I was at lower levels, maybe you had to fabricate some things and hype up an opponent on the road. This is not the scenario. I mean, all of these teams can whip you if you're not ready.
Obviously, I can't speak exactly
mindset, but they are coming in here with something they need to prove in terms of they haven't really beat anybody in SEC play yet. Like, they lost their ranked opponents in SEC play so far, and they have, you know, a tough slate to finish out the season. Just, is that something that you address with the team, you know, when you're about to face someone who might be coming in with a little extra juice or, you know, might be hunting their first ranked win in conference play?
No, I think our narrative is just going to be exactly what it is. I think Alabama is playing as good as anyone in the SEC right now. I mean, they had a huge win last night. They had a great win at Mississippi State. I mean, they are playing, they've had a bye week, they've gotten better. I think that they're at their peak right now. And we're going to get to play them at their peak. And I think that all of those things are facts, and that's how we're going to talk about it.
How challenging is matching Alabama on the boards when, sort of similar to Tennessee, they have so many different players who can impact the game in terms of rebounds?
Yeah, they're very deep, and we just have to have a mindset that we want to be more physical. And I think, again, that's going to be really hard because this game means something to them. They're equally as talented. They're equally as strong. They're a very big team. We got to see them for maybe just during warm-ups when we were in Florida. They were in the same tournament, and they're a very, very big team. They're bigger than us in almost every position. So that's going to be a battle for us.
Kanai is someone that I feel you use a lot when it comes to the press. How important will her ability to either, you know, get a pickpocket or swipe the ball away in this type of matchup?
Yeah, she's important for us everywhere on the floor, and the more confident she gets down the stretch, the better our team will be.
Has been struggling a little bit from distance during conference play. How do you get her jumper from distance back on track?
Yeah, I think it's shot selection. I think she's taking contested threes, and she shoots pretty well when they're coming inside out, and she's open. So just being a little more patient.
Kanaya, you talked about how better she was after Christmas break. Her minutes are going up the last 4 or 5 games, I think 5 or 6 minutes a game. What is she giving you that's warranted more rotation for her? How does she change your team on both ends of the floor?
Yeah, she is one of our best, if not our best defender on ball. She will make things happen in the press. She can go get rebounds anytime she wants. I think that's something she needs to be reminded of during games, that she could just do. Just go get offensive rebounds, go get defensive rebounds. She'll take charges. She'll dive on loose balls. She's doing a really good job of realizing she's one of the fastest players on the floor every night. So if you want to go get a layup, turn the Jets on, kid, go get a layup. And I trust her. I trust her to be out there. I trust her playing hard. She talks. She's on her. She doesn't act like a freshman. She has some moments where she has some freshman eyes, but in practice, she's on her teammates. She's leading. She's on our leadership committee because she is vocal. She is the future of this program.
Have you seen a change in maybe the way teams are playing her now, or is that more just kind of her taking those tough shots?
Yeah, I do think she's getting doubled a little bit more, and so we just need to continue to work on decision making. She's, again, somebody that I'm always going to trust to have the ball in her hands. She's a huge part of our team, and when she is going, we're at our best. Thank you, guys.